today was generally positioned as the day that players had to alert their teams as to whether or not they're going to join their teams in the bubble down in Orlando. And Woj clarified that a little bit earlier. It's obviously, you can do it by today, but it's more of a soft alert. Most teams view about another week or so, I think it's July 1, as really the hard date. But we do get Avery Bradley from the Lakers, who is deciding, based on his 6-year-old son who's got some pre-existing medical issues, and who knows, maybe Dwight Howard will join suit based on, what Dwight was saying with the Kyrie Irving story from last week here. But, I know it's going to be positioned as a big deal. First of all, we wish Avery the best, and we will not take any issue with his decision. But from a basketball point of view,
I mean, look, he's a good role player. I'm not saying he's an instrumental role player for the LA Lakers, but he's a good role player for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially because of some of his defensive acumen. And every now and then he'll get hot. I think there was a game at the end before the regular season stopped because of the coronavirus. I remember having a specific conversation about Avery Bradley. I was like, dude, this guy is an offensive liability. He does absolutely nothing. And in the specific game we were watching, he scored like 20. You know what I mean? So,
I remember that. I do remember that.
Right? It's like,
I think it was a national game, too.
It was.
Yeah.
It absolutely was. Because I was watching it just kind of chilling. I'm like, why does Avery Bradley get so many minutes? And it's obviously because he's a good defender. I mean, they don't need him to be, an offensive juggernaut with AD and LeBron and even Kuzma. So it's just kind of like, he's just there to play defense. He drops 20. So it can give you that every now and then. Will he be missed? Yes, in a sense. But will he be a knock to their title hopes? Probably not. But what's more interesting to me, BT, is that with Avery Bradley's decision to sit out the Orlando restart, we now have 3 different reasons for guys opting out. Now, there's a handful of them that are injuries, right? Kyrie Irving can't play because of his injury, and a few others. Marcus Aldridge, he had shoulder surgery. There's guys that aren't going to be there because they're hurt and they have surgeries. Kyrie, exactly. Durant, etc. But the 3 that are healthy and not playing all have 3 different reasons. Avery Bradley, who you just talked about, and he rightfully is choosing his family first. His son, as you mentioned, has some respiratory illnesses or trouble recovering from respiratory illnesses. So he's not, he doesn't want to risk his family, and he has every right to stay away from this. David Bertans of the Washington Wizards, we talked about. They're a borderline team, in this restart anyway. So he doesn't want to risk getting hurt after sitting out for 2 months, and he's in a contract year. So it just doesn't make sense for him to come back and play if there's not a real chance that they're going to go deep into the postseason and potentially compete for a championship. And then you have Trevor Ariza for the Portland Trailblazers, who, because the season has been delayed so long, is sitting out because he had to choose. Do I go back down to Orlando and do this NBA restart and try to make it deep into the postseason, win a championship, or do I take this month of visitation that I have with my kid? He chose the latter, obviously. And so the reasons are all different for why guys aren't coming back to this Orlando restart. And we don't know if it's going to grow more. Right now, it's only 3 that are doing it that could physically play. But it makes you wonder how deep this is going to go and the options that guys have, including not playing because they want to be involved in the social justice issues that are going on in this country right now.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot to juggle. And, it's funny because, and we'll squeeze this in a little bit later here, you and I just did our Facebook hit, and we'll check it out, Facebook, CBS Sports. Tiki and I do it once a week every Wednesday. And we were touching on baseball, but in getting into some of the other issues with the coronavirus, Brooks Koepka is pulling out of an event because of his caddy. Contracting the virus. Graham McDowell, he's withdrawn as well. Nick Watney obviously withdrew from the RBC Heritage down in South Carolina after round 1. So that's just golf, where it's easy to get separation and distance, even if you half-heartedly follow the caddy pro protocol, which was designed. Now, baseball's got other issues, and we've hit on those as well. The NBA is unique, though, in the sense that, you're hanging on each other, man. There's no way around it. You're sweating. You get a little cut. Yeah, I know you got to clean it up, and they got to call timeout. If it's on the uniform, they've got to stain it down with the bleach, and there's a protocol for that as well. But There's going to be a lot of – well, maybe not a lot. There's going to be a fair amount of guys who look at this and say it's not worth it. And again, we have speculated on this now for weeks, but in the basketball sense, right, you can look at it one of two ways. Now, Avery Bradley's fine. You know, he certainly the first part of his career was much better than the last couple of years. I mean, there was a couple of years with the Celtics where he was an absolute beast. Lockdown defender. He's still pretty good on D. He's still solid on D, but where he was great. Now I think he's just merely very good. A little bit of a drop-off there. But he did start 44 out of 49 games. So you can look at it one of two ways here. Boy, how does a team that's on the short list to win a championship replace at this stage of the game somebody who has started, 90% of the games they played this year? That's one way. The other way is, well, is it really that hard to replace somebody with a PER in single digits? And then you mix in the Dwight Howard situation, and if Dwight Howard opts out, you got 24 minutes of distribution from Avery Bradley, 19 and a half more, 20 minutes from Dwight. Now that's 44 minutes that you need to disperse in a different direction. All right, maybe the solution's J.R. Smith. I don't think there's that much of a drop-off from Avery Bradley if JR's in decent shape. And based on the way he kicked the snot out of that one dude who was trying to break in his car, it looks like he's in pretty decent shape.
Yep.
I know it's a big story, but I respectfully say I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Well,
I really don't.
Well, from an Avery Bradley standpoint, it probably isn't that big of a deal. Can they replace those minutes? Yeah, they'll find a way to do it, and it might be J.R. Smith. But the question then shifts to LeBron James, who we look at as one of the forefront. Obviously, the team, the Lakers, are one of the teams at the forefront of our minds of a potential championship contender. And so now that they're losing a couple of their role players, not that they were superstars for them this season, but they were pretty good role players for them this season. Where's the pressure on LeBron? Is he lifting his game even farther now? And are we going to say at the end of this, if they fall short, well, they lost Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard right before the restart in the playoffs, and so that's the excuse. It all ultimately will come back to LeBron's chances of now winning a championship. And it's why you've seen, this Lakers team very eager to get back out and play. It's why they've been practicing at some rich dude's house, his replica Staples Arena. Staples Arena in the backyard of somebody's house for so long. They're taking this seriously. And if Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard ended up not being a part of it, are we looking at LeBron differently?
No.
The answer is probably no. But if they do lose, is it an excuse? That's what happens.
Listen, you know what it is, Teague? I hear you, and listen. These guys, with all due respect, Avery Bradley will be nothing more than a mere footnote in the annals of basketball history. Avery Bradley will have zero impact of consequence, positively or negatively, in the way people perceive and interpret what remains of LeBron James's career. That's just the way it is. Same with Dwight Howard. Now, if you're a real astute fan, it might be like a little bit of a point of reference, like down the road. Well, listen, they did lose a couple of guys who, yeah, sure, maybe a few people will throw it in there, but in large part, it's not going to matter at all. If you're an ardent LeBron James fan, you will maybe lean on the unique circumstances of the virus and the discontinuation of play and the eventual startup. And, maybe that's a way to buffer or gloss over any, failed or inability to reach any achievements. I don't know. But if you're a guy who thinks LeBron's a little overrated, which I think is ridiculous, or maybe improperly positioned a little bit too high on the all-time list, you attack it very differently. The opinion, what I'm saying is the opinions on LeBron James, Teague, are so, or the die is already cast. Really, maybe there's a small segment that could be persuaded with another championship or two to have him leap over MJ, but everything else is established.
Yeah, but I'm not even worried about him leaping over MJ because that's not going to happen.
I agree.
Especially not after this documentary that we saw, this 10 parts that we just saw, The Last Dance. I'm not worried about him jumping over Michael Jordan, but at the end of the day, LeBron James wants to go down as one of the most unique champions, superstars in the history of basketball.
But do you know that?
I don't know that.
Those are your words.
Okay, so I'm going to look at LeBron James as one of the most unique superstars, champions in the history of basketball.
Fair enough.
If he goes creates the whatever they called that thing, the triple threat, down in Miami. He comes back to Cleveland, wins there for the first time in forever in Cleveland before there was, unified leagues in all their sports, and brings a championship to his hometown, then goes to Lakersville, where Showtime is trying to come back, and after the Kobe era ended and you had those really faded seasons, now he comes back and he wins one in Los Angeles. It's a crazy narrative for LeBron James. And yes, he's not going to jump Michael, but he will be probably the most unique superstar / champion in the NBA if he determined and finds a way, and the Lakers find a way to win a championship, even if it is under odd and weird circumstances because of the coronavirus pandemic. And so that's at stake, right? His legacy, not relative to MJ, but his legacy in general, I think is under debate right now.
Well, that's an interesting angle there. I like that one, because if you look at the all-time list, and obviously it's subjective, but there's certain names you just have to have on the list, and we all know the names.
Yep.
But if you look at like the top, 7, 8, 9, 10, roughly, obviously Kareem has one with the Bucks and Oscar Robertson and a couple with the Lakers, but Magic all with the Lakers, Bird all with the Lakers, Isaiah both with the Pistons. Not that he's top 10, but he's not too far from there.
Yep.
Tim Duncan all with the Spurs, Hakeem Olajuwon both with the Rockets. So you say MJ all with the Bulls, obviously, even though he played for the Wizards. So there have been guys that have won multiple at different places, but they weren't the guy. That's what I'm saying. And like boy, it's even that.
Yeah, like Rodman, you know what I mean? A couple with the Bad Boys, and 3 with the Bulls, and you have Robert Horry, who was around, jumping around.
Yeah, role players, sure. Role players have jumped around a little bit. Yeah, but is that the legacy that he wants?
But it doesn't matter what he wants. It's going to be his legacy if he wins with the LA Lakers. That's how I'll remember him.
But how do you think the masses will remember him? Because I don't think they'll remember him the way you. Even though it's an interesting way to look at it, and I'm not saying that you're wrong.
How else are you looking at him championship-wise?
The second greatest player of all time, the way I do now.
Yeah, but
what's the difference?
Yeah, but that's kind of boring. Nobody wants to be second best. Right? It's like LeBron James, definitively the second best player in the history of basketball. But if you say LeBron James, the most unique champion who went to 3 different locations, all with unique, awesome stories, and won championships for them, that's something that resonates, right?
Yeah.
The second best, greatest player ever. It doesn't. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I mean, wherever you want to put it on the syllabus, it's an important lesson.
Yes.
For sure. And it's something that you've got to get to pretty quickly when you run down LeBron's great career. We haven't talked about this, but what I really started thinking about in the last day or so, and probably more so last night and this morning when you learned about Avery Bradley, even though you could debate just how much influence his absence will have on the team. But again, if Dwight Howard then elects not to play, that's 45 minutes you got to juggle.
Yeah.
So now residually down the line, it becomes a bit more complicated. But you know what we're in the middle of, and nobody's really looking at it this way. And this is really unfortunate. It's nobody's fault, certainly not our country's fault, but it's unavoidable. But it really sucks in plain English. I'm not sure how else to frame it.
Yeah.
We are being deprived of a really important aspect of LeBron's career. Now, we'll see him play if the bubble goes well, and there's no further interruptions, or it's not shut down for good. But here he is, second behind Giannis for the MVP in his mid-30s, right? Trying to resuscitate one of the great brands in all the sports, right there with the Yankees and the Lakers and the Canadians and a couple of the soccer teams. You know the teams.
Yep.
The Raiders, the Niners, the Pats now. And he's going to be in empty gyms, right? It's this quirky return. Lord knows where it takes us. And let's face it, next year is probably compromised as well, not only from a startup date point of view, but also, are there 20,000 people at Staples Center on opening night in 2021? Probably not.
I doubt it.
So I know we think that the guy's going to play forever, but there's only so much more meat on that bone.
Yeah.
And it sucks that this is the way this year has to go for everybody, but really for a guy who's one of the best of all time in any sport.
Yeah, once this thing restarts, how it feels is going to be really, really compelling. because there's going to be a sterile nature to it that you can't ignore. Or there's going to be no excitement. Game winner. 3 seconds left. Crossover. Step back. Nails it. Crickets.
You heard more noise at my 8th grade CYO Christmas tournament against St. Pat's.
That's what we're going to be up against. And it's just going to be odd.
But you got to pipe in the noise. It's going to sound great then.
Yeah, I don't see it, man. I really don't.
A little facetious, though. I'm certainly down with experimenting. I hear you. I don't know what to tell you that. What this means for the Lakers moving forward. Well, we gave you the aspect that we just touched on, things that we can react to, like Avery Bradley, maybe Dwight Howard. But then there's other things that we can't possibly react to, like what kind of shape are the other teams in? How interested are they truly in playing? What happens when a star player tests positive? And, does that derail the team's championship pursuit if you're the Lakers or the Clippers or the Bucks or the Celtics or the Rockets? Maybe I don't like the Rockets that much, but you know what I'm saying. What are the teams that is thought to have Denver, a real chance to make a move here? I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns here, but this is one thing that we do know. A guy who, plays 25 minutes a game, and you could go through all maybe not all, maybe that's a little hyperbole, but almost every champion in the last 25 or 30 years, right? And if you were to take away, whether it's a starter who played fringe minutes or a reserve who played fringe starter minutes, and you take him away from the equation, there's probably a little bit of a drop-off there. I don't think that that's an unfair, inaccurate statement. So maybe I'm selling Avery Bradley's eventual absence a little bit short. We'll see. But LeBron's plowing through. This guy, he'll show. If he's the only one in the bubble, he will show up.
That's
right?
If I got to do it single-handedly, I'm going to do it single-handedly.
I got to do it.